Shalom Aleichem, welcome everyone. As we prepare for Shabbos, Parshas Tazria, Parshas Chodesh. I'm speaking to you today from the 13th Avenue Matzah Bakery. I apologize if the reception is not as good as normal. I'm on a cell phone. I'll do my best. First, a word on Parshas Tazria, on the Parsha of Tzaras. As you know, this week's Parsha contains the ways to recognize a Mitzvah, the way to recognize a Nega. What is a Tzaras? We have in this week's Parsha. Later in Parshas Nosai, we find the command, Sabbath to the yisroel, Yishalchu min hamachna kol tzurua v'chol zav v'chol samei l'nefesh. The consequences of being a Mitzvah, as well as other tovas, are mentioned in Parshas Nosai, the idea that a Mitzvah is sent chutz l'machna. The Sami Rebbe, in devrai yoel, in Parshas Nosai, page Kuf Mem, asks a gewaltige question. He asks, why does the Torah express the consequences of a Mitzvah and a Zav, etc., in a different language than the entire Torah? Normally, the Torah talks to the person who has a command, who's the person obligated to carry out that command, that commandment. For example, the Torah says that if a woman is divorced, she's not allowed to marry a Kayan. It doesn't talk to Klal Yisrael and tell the Jewish people to make sure that a Grusha, a divorced woman, doesn't marry a Kayan. Why here is it different? Here, the Torah expresses its language in a commandment to the Jewish people. Tzavos b'nei yisroel, yishalchu min hamachna kol tzurua v'chol zav. The Torah should have said, Tzav es hatzurua v'es hazav. Command these people and tell them to leave the machna. That's kasha 1. Kasha number 2 is that the subsequent pasuk near in Nasai reads, Vayasu came b'nei Yisrael, v'yishalchu lo'isam l'chutz l'machna, kasher diber Hashem el Moshe keinasu b'nei Yisrael. The Klal Yisrael did as they were told. We won't find that the Chol Torah Kula. The Torah doesn't say, command the Jewish people not to eat nevela, and they obeyed. Or command the Jewish people to eat matzah, or shekel lulav and esrog, or blow a shofar, and they obeyed. Why here does it say it? And even stranger, it says it in a double lashon. It says, Vayasu ke b'nei Yisrael, and in the same pasuk it ends, Keinasu b'nei Yisrael. Very strange set of psukim, and certainly begs an explanation. The summary of the answers by bringing a medrash echa, which analyzes the difference between the language of gerushin, sending someone away, and shluchin, sending someone away. So there are two words in Hebrew for sending a person. One is legaresh, to send a person away. Such a person is being sent away because he should not be here. Where he's going is not the issue. The point is he doesn't belong here, legaresh, so we send him away. Kadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu in Parshas Shemais that Parai goresh yigoresh, Parai will send you out. Parai doesn't care where you're going. He wants you out of Mitzrayim. On the other hand, the lashon of shaleach is to send someone with a purpose to arrive at a certain point. You send someone because you want to get him to the place where he is going. The Medrash Echa says that when the Kadosh Baruch Hu sends the Jewish people to Galus, you might think it's a gerushin. It's just sending a person out. Leave Eretz Yisrael. You no longer deserve it. But it's not so. It's also a shimuach. It's also going wherever a Jew goes in Galus for a purpose. For a tikkun ha'olam, for whatever has to be repaired in the world. Wherever a Jew goes, he has something to accomplish. And that's the lesson of gerushin and shiluchin. I once heard about a certain chassid on the West Coast who was flying here to New York to be with his Rebbe. And he was flying to be with his Rebbe here on Rosh Hashanah in Yom Ne'Rayim. His flight was diverted due to engine trouble and landed in some small town in Texas. The chassid was brokenhearted. He realized he would not make it to the Rebbe for Rosh Hashanah, and there he was, out in the middle of nowhere with a shofar, a mazer, and hopefully a box of matzahs. So he called his Rebbe and asked for a bracha and said to his Rebbe, I'm stuck here in Texas. To which the Rebbe replied, stuck? A Jew is never stuck. A Jew is sent. If you're there for Rosh Hashanah, there must be something that you can accomplish in the town in which you're found. I have a good friend who's not well. and he is undergoing chemotherapy. And his friend Pistis Eliezer, and Yehudis Yishtav Refuah Shalema, has undertaken that when he goes, he's not stuck. He's sent. Wherever he goes, he tries to give chizuk, strength to others. He has a sefer which gives him chizuk, and buys copies and gives it to other people undergoing the same ordeal. The idea of Lishaleach is to send for a purpose. Getting back to the Mitzayra. The Mitzayra would think Ligaresh, that he's chased out of the Machna. He doesn't deserve to be in a proper Machna. So the Torah says, Sabes b'nei Yisrael v'yishalchu min ha-Machna. Tell the Jewish people that he's going on a shlichus. Klal Yisrael needs those who will go out and accomplish something. It's a shlichus. Let them send him. And the Torah says, Vayasu came b'nei Yisrael v'yishalchu min ha-Machna. The Jewish people did it. They told the Mitzayra, go, but go with a purpose. When we send you out of the Machna, there's some positive purpose to it. And the pasuk says, came also b'nei Yisrael, the double lashon. The first goes on the senders, Klal Yisrael, who are urged to give chizuk to those who are sent out, and those who went out. The ones who went out with a chizuk. A final Agoda, which is related. The last pasuk in Parshas Shemais refers to Klal Yisrael being sent from Mitzrayim to the Midbar. And the last pasuk reads, B'yad chazaka yishalchem, u'b'yad chazaka yigashem me'atzai. Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, the Jews will go out of Mitzrayim. Double lashon, B'yad chazaka yishalchem, with a strong hand he will send them away. B'yad chazaka yigashem, again, the double lashon, shlichus and gerushin. Rashi says that the first Yad Chazaka is God's strong hand. The second Yad Chazaka is Parai. Parai will force you out. So that the Yad Chazaka Yishalchem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends you. You're going with a purpose. As far as the Yad of Parai, Parai Yigar Shem. Parai is just chasing you out. Get out of here. Wherever you go doesn't matter. The Shari Aaron brings the origin of this Rashi. As a medrash, it says the Yad Chazaka L'mayla, u'biyad chazaka l'mata. God's hand from above, Parai's hand from below. Beautiful. The Yad L'mayla sends you wherever you go for a purpose. The Yad L'mata, Parai's hand chases you away. And so this is a beautiful insight into the shlichus on which a Mitzayra goes. The second thing on this parasha, in the Hamik Dover, there's a beautiful, absolutely beautiful analysis of the language of the psukim. We have, as you know, a number of different types of niga'im in the parasha. We have niga'im on the body, specifically on skin, on burns or boils, 3 types. And then we have niga'im that are on the head, either a nesek on the hair, or karachas v'gabachas, or on a bald spot on the head, the back of the head or the front of the head. The pasuk tells us the dinei mitzayra, the din of the God of you to ruin, the idea that he has to let his hair grow, and with kriya on his begadim, al safam yata. It says it only in the 5th of these 6 niga'im, when it talks about kalachas and gabachas. Also, there, in the space of 3 psukim, it says tamei tamei yikra. It mentions tumah 7 times in regard to kalachas and gabachas. The Ramek Dover, the Nitzim in his parish, makes the point of noticing this. He says the halachas of a Mitzayra are the same for all 6 types. It's just mentioned by he who has a nega on his head. And he explains as follows. A nega on the body is a sign of someone who is doing aveiros such as Lashon Hara, Taivas Haguf. And that's well known. Nega on the head, though, has to do with apikosis, with false beliefs. When a person is either karachas or gabachas, either his head is not thinking, he's an apikayus who just doesn't think about how he got here and how the world could come about on its own, he doesn't think about God, or someone has a nega on the back of his head, somebody who thinks, and somebody who pays attention and has philosophical issues. These are apikusim. And there, Tomei Yikra, there it mentions Tumah. And there it mentions the halachis that apply to a Mitzayra. Now, the Tzir tells us an important insight. He says there are some dinim that we learn from a pasuk directly. There are Shabbos, which we learn from a drasha, from a Hekesh Gzera Shava, some pasuk that extends a din from the place it's stated to places where it's not stated. The Ritzis says a rule, which he points out that he's mentioned in numerous places in his Pirish, that wherever the Parsha mentions a din, that's the main place where it is. And wherever it's learned from a drasha, that's secondary. The din are the same, but in Hashkafa it is so. And therefore he says, it mentions the punishments of a Mitzvah, the behavior, the ways in which is restricted by a karachas to the head, the gabachas to the head, the type of tzaras which has to do with the way a person thinks. Because those averis are more serious than those that have to do with Taivas Hekuf. Let me not sign off without saying a word of sorts, at least a short part, that has to do with Parshas HaChodesh and Tzias Mitzrayim, looking forward to the Seder night. When the Jews left Egypt, no dog barked at them. Simple meaning, dogs bark in a challenging way, no dog barked to challenge the Jewish people. Rav Hudner has a gewaltige teich. Says dogs don't only bark, sometimes dogs are friendly. As a matter of fact, dogs are known as man's best friend. The Gemara says, Shloisha Azimheim, that in nature there are three who have tremendous chutzpah. Kelev b'chayos, yisroel ba'amim, tarnagel ba'ifais. Says a dog among the animals has chutzpah. What's the chutzpah of a dog? Says Rav Hudner, incredibly. The dog is man's best friend. The dog looks at man and says, I'm a friend of yours. I'm an equal. I'm someone who can be friendly with you. That's the chutzpah. The chutzpah of a dog is he doesn't realize the great distance between man and dog. Indeed, there are some people who don't deserve for the animals to look at them as being on a higher level. When Klal Yisrael left Mitzrayim, they developed a higher level, a yecharat kelav l'shaynai, even a friendly bark, a wagging tail, a friendliness of a dog to a person. Man's best friend? No. Even the dog sensed that Klal Yisrael was on a higher level. And that's why the scholar, for what the dogs did here, is that they get nevela. We tell them, dogs, you recognize the gulf between a member of Klal Yisrael and a chaya. We will give you what we can't eat. You can't eat nevela. But throw it to the dogs. Of course, this is an insight into the Arizal's expression, Ani Kalbin de Chatzifin. The dogs of chutzpah have a connection to Kayach HaTumah. And this is, of course, an insight. And it says, Shloisha Azimheim, Yisroel ba'amim, Jews among the nations, Kelev b'chayos, the dog among the animals, the tarnagel ba'ifais, and the chicken among the birds. The idea that the chutzpah of a kelev among the chayos is that the kelev, unlike the other chayos, sees himself as man's friend. This extends too to Yisrael ba'amim. A yid has to recognize that whereas all of humanity has its tzelem Elokim, but a Jew is different. Klal Yisrael is obligated in Taryag mitzvahs. There's a difference. We're not the best friend to the Umay Sa'ilam. That's an extension of the lesson, which is, of course, related to Yetzias Mitzrayim, to the Klal Yisrael being chosen to go out from among the nations into a midbar. Of course, I've left you hanging on the third, the Tarnagel Ba'ifais. How does this fit with the chicken among the birds? However, since my time is up for this drasha and away from me in the Matzah Bakery, I'll leave you to figure out this one, the Ezra Hashem. In the meantime, have an absolutely wonderful Shabbos.